Helio guys, and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at FloridaGuy's account here. Now, this account review was kind of different from what I've done before because I was talking with him via Zoom because his account is on iOS, not Android, so I can't just access it. So do keep in mind that this account review is kind of different in where you're going to hear Florida Guy kind of talk and conversate with me as I go through his account. But keep in mind too that I will kind of have what I do traditionally at the end of the video where I give him advice on like Titans, on his gym quality, and etc. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. It's just
I actually do have him set up with attack. So he actually does have some decent attack running on him.
yeah, his
Although
resistance is
his
pretty
protection's
decent
dead,
too.
but yeah, some nice
Triple attack.
stats for him for resistance.
So yeah, triple attack. He looks good. 100% agree with that. Alright, here's one of the Dragas. You actually have a variant one. Must be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I got did I get that from I made that. This was one of the I've gotten two variant gleams from eggs the entire time I played from the game, and I made this Draka the variant from that egg.
I've gotten some variant gleams, but I can't remember what I've done with them.
Put it on I put it on this Draka. Remember if I put the other variant, well, it's on one of the other 5 stars. So the Gilgamesh was a regular variant. I've got like two other variant Gilgameshes, I think, sitting in my storage.
You
But
have
I've
an
never
Evo 3 Fire Gilgamesh, but why?
because I haven't gotten a dark Gilgamesh, and so I wanted the Aster Gems from the guide. You know what's funny though? He actually is useful in clan versus clan because he's got the 100% stun, and eventually he's going to get the heal off on the team. So he is useful for shutting stuff down in clan versus clan.
You're not running. Well, you did send some of them over on Discord, but I'm super lazy, so I try and run like mono compositions of just like light or dark mods. So I can't even believe I'm seeing this either. You have an Evo 3 freaking light. I mean, not light, but fire Jormungandr.
Yeah, he actually was a variant when I got him. So I'm like, well, I got a variant. I don't have a light or dark version of him either. So
Can you explain this to me?
for why I have him as Evo 3,
Uh, yeah. I need
well,
an explanation.
After gems. So
That is a
I
steep investment for some
well,
gems.
I mean, for me, not really, because I didn't have any other 5 stars to toss to do anything with. So I ended up with enough of the Leviathans to make him, and so you get your 4. If you don't have anything else, you're using your gleams on. You clean it up, and you get what 320 Aster Gems for getting that to level Evo 3.
You use them, but they're not fully booked up. What is this?
I mean, when you book stuff up, it's mainly damage, right? I mean, how much damage do you think they're really going to throw? They're never the high damage dealers.
We got recovery up boost with the shield. I mean, that's free. That's free heal.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're getting there. I mean, you see that I have multiple of the Kiras, so
I'm just over here judging you. I have to do something. Let's see the Scheherazade.
the Scheherazade, she actually does really good damage against Titan.
Crit damage and then attack. She should far out damage someone like Sha Wu Jing for sure. And she should be pretty close to Fire Shinobi, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, she does really good damage, and not just the damage, but having her on the team actually helps the team survive a hell of a lot longer from her ult.
Oh, you actually built your Sonic up.
Oh yeah, he's actually fully booked too. He is incredibly durable, and he does good damage. And he also because he can self heal with that heal set. He's in a way a lot like the Water Wildfang, but he's even more durable.
This water cure has dirt nasty low recovery. What is up with this?
She's a lead unit for the attack down. She is an exposed weakness, and that's what she's used for.
Because she does have the attack up too.
She has the attack up for the team. She's got the high resist to make sure she doesn't get locked out. She's got good defense to make, stay alive. And she doesn't need a whole bunch of healing if she's not, if she's with a tanky-ish team. But that way madness lies as well.
All I can say is that you're a very brave man.
It kills me that she's the only one that I've gotten devastating strike on.
So she's on a siphon set.
She actually is very useful. I use her in combination with a Draka and usually a Dark Mona for just wave clears when I'm doing map. So I'll use her with my wood Artemis, who's also on a siphon set for map clear. So they'll cruise through stuff really fast, and I'll toss whatever team composition. I always have someone else I'm leveling, so this way they can level somebody up quickly.
Oh, good old Woodanu. I used to rock that dude all the time.
I still on occasion see some guys, some teams running him, and if he's built right, he can throw a massive amount of damage out.
Now, can you explain to me why this crit rate gem isn't higher?
At level 15?
Not even level 15. Like a little bit more, because he's sitting at 93%.
Yeah, well, because probably I ran out of gold the day that I was working on putting stuff on him. So I'm like, well, he's just going to sit there.
I'm just trying to ensure he gets that free hunter all the time, at least in theory.
Yeah. I actually do like the Dreadfey Banshee for the wood unit. She's got, great SP build. She's another one of mine, though, that she dies and then she gives a boost to the team. Which, if she dies last, then that was completely useless.
Double HP and a defense gem just to get the siphon set on her.
Yep.
Say no more. Yeah, but she has a normally high attack stat for her to be like an RGB mon too, which is very nice for the wood mons in general, because they just... Smart Study doesn't like the wood Astromon for whatever reason.
Yeah, and yes, I do have 2 Leviathans that are both variants, and neither of them were from Gleams. So they were just...
I mean, you have an actual good one. Not saying the water one's bad, but the water one is unique, shall I say.
Yeah. Well, this one, the funny thing is I don't even use this one all that much. And he's not a bad unit.
No,
I just don't use it.
No, that makes sense. I mean, he's great, especially for newer players, that they can somehow, like with the, selective summoning, if they can get him variant to run him in golems until they get something better. But then, obviously, I would just, probably get rid of him after that. Because the morale boost and stuff like that, getting that up just takes time. And if you're running golems anyways, you're going to have wave clears, and by the time you get to the golem, then they should be ready to go with sap. Not have to wait an extra turn for him to do his sap for it to stick. Then the golem does his long animation, and
yeah. Well, if you're gonna run him, like I have on him, this is actually the correct set in my mind for him to have on him. So he has a 50% SP. So it's every 2 turns he can throw his saps.
Which to me is just weird, because there's other Astromon with 50%, and he's only throwing out saps. I mean, they're high potency saps, but I don't know. I just never understand sometimes what Smart Study does. She's in my opinion, she's a really good sapper too. I used her a lot before we had B11 through B15, and honestly, she's just equal to a sapper, like a actual sapper, because with resistance down, that helped my other sapper make sure that sap would always stick. And then with her 5-star skill, after she has resistance down, that's sticking too. So very underrated Astromon. Yeah, I'm not a big like stiffler for subs. It was just, especially in the last account review, it was just crazy to see how, I guess, vanilla or how raw Amon's stats are with just basic gems on them, just to fill in that main slot, which is it's crazy because the subs really do add up over time. We've made it to the light mons.
Yep. I actually like the light Yuki that I've got set up at the moment.
Yeah, she's pretty decent. She is better than at least one of mine. One of mine has literally like very low resist, but I've still been getting up high in PvP, so I just let her go, man.
If,
Yeah, one of mine
if
only
no
has
one,
21% resist.
yeah, if no one's hitting her with anything that causes a debuff, then you're fine.
And then also, how is Light Valk performing for you?
I actually like her. She's only got the one turn on the shock, but if she's one of the other units that I can pair off with the resist down units to guarantee that somebody's locked down. The 50% damage reduction is incredibly valuable. And the moment she goes under 50% health, she's giving 10% health and 10% SP to everybody because of the trinket set. So I actually really do like her as a unit. She's not, and I'm going to say this, she's not a high damage unit. And as I say that, I know she's got like almost 9,000 attack and almost a 50% crit rate. But I use her more for the utility than I do for anything else. The super ascension skill on her, the shield, actually, I have that on her and the Arthur, both of my light Arthur, both of them got that shield, and that shield is very useful.
My favorite thing about Snow White though is like, oh, I have Dark Snow White, and my mind is just like Dark White. I know it's a name, but
Yeah. Yeah. I actually do like the light Nike. I don't use her as much as I used to, but I mean, she is, especially with the super ascension skill I got on her, very durable.
now, do you see anything wrong with this picture?
I know she's got 2 attacks on there,
Okay, just, just checking, just checking.
but what am I going to do? Re-roll them and get recoveries?
Well,
I'll answer that for you. No, I'm not going to re-roll them and put recovery in there.
I was gonna say there's an HP slot and there's also another defense slot you could go for. Not saying you have to do it, but FYI, if anyone out there has attack
Yeah.
on their light Nikes, you need to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And here's the one of the ancient sets that they put in the game, and we're like, ooh, we should actually take those out.
Yeah. It's actually served this Astromon incredibly well. Because with her as lead, her lead skill is a defense up. And so now her defense is just shot way up as a result from that if you use her that way. Although I would wager I'm probably the only one in the game that has a gem set of this on her. So
I would say you may be. I think I end up getting rid of all of those sets. I don't know why, but it was so long ago, so
it was probably to clear up gem inventory space because we had far less gem inventory space previously. I do like the light succubus. And actually we're almost at 11 o'clock. So 11 o'clock is when the challenge opens up, where you go to all the different continents and fight all the defense teams to get the reward at the end of the week. She is a good unit. I used to use her a lot. She's outdated-ish at this point. She still is useful, but I don't use her.
yeah, you're not playing with those Beths now. I will tell you that.
No, I told you the Beths for the Apostas dungeon, they're they're the ones that are going to rock the damage for you. I made a mistake of getting rid of my Dark Beth because I didn't realize I needed her. And this is, by the way, is the Light Tiger I was mentioning. And so for him, if you pair him with somebody else that's already put them to sleep, you don't have to have any crit. And as a matter of fact, you don't want any crit rate on him because that's stats that you can have somewhere else. Now, he's not built perfectly, but at some point, if I ever do, really go all in on that, he'll have like well, if I ever was silly enough to do it, I would change his gems out so that they were triangle slots. He'd be all triangles. He'd be all crit damage, and he would just destroy stuff, and or if he didn't destroy it, put it back to sleep.
Because with sleep guaranteeing the crit, is that saying that it also guarantees that Hunter's going to automatically crit?
Yes.
If his SP was up?
If his SP was up and they're sleeping, it's an auto crit. Any attack against the sleep mon is an auto crit, whether it's an alt or a 3-star or the 3-star skill.
And here's one of the Snow Whites.
Yeah. She's got a massive amount of hit points on her. And actually, I like the skill of her alts for weaken. So she's got shock and weaken. So every time she's attacking something, she's attempting to apply 1 to 2 debuffs. Yeah, she's got a huge number of
Are you
points.
telling me she has nearly max? It's not max, but nearly maxed. Actually, no. Yeah, it's nearly maxed. With no resist gem on her?
No resist gem on her.
Shut the front door. Yeah, 80% 2-turn shock on a 3-star skill is almost illegal.
Well, that's my point as to what makes her really good and better than the Light Valkyrie. I'd rather have 80% chance for 2 turns than 100% chance for 1 turn.
And you do have a light purse with a resist gem on her.
I do, because she's another unit that you don't want getting locked out. So she's right now got the resist gem. She got the full break for her super evolution, as did I think both of my Dark Krakens. So when I run them on a team, they're like, if you had buffs that you thought on your team, you don't have buffs by the time they're done with you. You might have, yep, there you go. He does an incredible amount of damage. I will say the Cosmo, I have seen PvP defense teams during the 3-star weeks that are all like Cosmos. And surprisingly, whoever built that actually surprisingly built them very tanky, very well, and they're always healing themselves up to full. So it is amusing when I see that team.
You have a fully built up is that Light Wolf?
It is Light Wolf. He actually is useful. He's useful against the Apophis boss that puts the attack up on himself. Because you cannot, if you leave that attack up on him, he just destroys you. It's also useful against any PvP where they're doing self buffs other than shield. Light Jean is pretty typical. She's hit point based. She's got a stun set running on her. Yes, she's resistance, because if you don't have high resistance, you're useless in my mind. But that's me. The Light Arthur, you'll definitely want to look at.
He is on that Zeal set? Okay. Crit rate, crit damage. I knew it.
And a resist gem. If you're batting as a Lightmon with a 0% base and you're batting, I think he's 85%, you're more likely than not to have a resist gem on there. You're going to pull that off.
Who needs resist, man? Just don't get hit. He has what? Okay, the attack. Oh yeah, you mentioned that too. It was him and who else had the attack base?
The Light Valky. Him and the Light Valky both have the shield. I do like, you went past the Dark Saren, but I do like the Dark Saren also.
You and this dominance thing, man.
Hey, the dominance has won me fights. Because if you stop them from getting their SP for their alts, you're going to, chances are pretty good you're going to win.
But here's the thing. You and me, we're not the same, man.
No, we're not.
I hit auto, I come back after 15 minutes of cooking, and I'm just like, oh, looks like I lost, looks like I won.
So he does hit really hard.
This is what you're packing in with 12% resist?
Yes. Well, there are no diamonds on him, so he's all attack. the funny thing for him is, though, I actually want debuffs to land on him. I want them to put saps on him. I want them to put attacks downs on him. I want them to put weakens on him, because when he attacks them, those get transferred before his damage gets calculated. Any debuffs they put on him get transferred, and then the damage gets calculated.
So does stun get transferred too?
No, you cannot clear out the stuns. Stuns and shocks are what I don't want, but any of the other like debuff type things that don't prevent you from doing something, but the Dark Hunter you're on. I probably need to switch him to a different gem set, but he does good damage. It's not enough damage against the dark person. The top floor of that level is Persephone, so you got to fight through 2 waves of 4 Persephones, and then you got to fight the last one, which is the super duper Persephone and her 2 buddies. So I probably need to get him on a crit siphon set so he can keep getting his punctures off.
That's a good roll into that gem. 32% resist.
Absolutely is. And then the 26% crit damage on that one with a hit point boost. So because his is over 8 turns, right? So over 8 turns, if it's, and I'm not sure the math, but if it's a 10% increase a turn, if he did go the full 8 turns, you're at an extra 80% on top of that attack of 8,000. So you're pushing like 12,000 attack at that point.
And he's a Dark Mind too, so if he gets that crit in there, well...
She is very useful in that she's a courageous striker and that defense, the 50% damage reduction. So I actually do like having her on the team, and she throws good damage. The light floor 100 is all him as Lightmon, and he is a pain in the ass because he heals. There's 4 of them each wave. They heal 10% of their hit points for each of them casting their ability. So they're healing 40% of their health and 40% of their SP. So every other turn they're using their ults, which are shocks. And if you fail your roll, your run is done.
There's also Dark Odin.
Yeah, she actually is fun to use. I do, and yes, she does have a resist gem. But she is fun to use. She, getting that defense break off can make a difference in some of the fights.
That is a god-awful amount of bolt wings. Oh, you're one of these Nat 4 hoarders?
Well, I use them to melt them off into the during the festivals to get the 600 Astra gems. So I build up a stock and then I melt them because that's a guaranteed way to get 600 Astra gems out of it.
Fire Artemis. I could know that life, but my issue is that if I give myself more space, then it's more mons I have to one day go through, and then I have to force myself to just work with what I have as much as possible.
Yeah. I've never gotten a light or dark of the genies, the actual thing, the djinns. And I keep trying, but still haven't gotten there. At some point when I do, I'll immediately make it an Evo 3 variant, but have to get it first. You're not going to see any 5 stars in this tab. My 3rd tab is where I store all the 5 stars.
Now, do you have enough light monas?
I've never gotten rid of them, so and I ran them all up to 60 for the 100 Astra gems each.
Oh, you do have a Fire Zeus? I don't even have a Fire Zeus yet. You're better than me.
Yeah, I am a month and a half out from getting my Dark Zeus, which means that I'm a month and a half out from immediately making my Evo 3 Light Zeus.
Yeah, you got 2 Wukongs, which is always great. Whole bunch of Tanyas in here.
Yeah.
Plenty of Bass. I mean, Odin would be crying right now seeing this.
Yeah, I know. He's still, I think, he's trying to get the wood or the water bast.
It's a Garuda. For whatever reason, Water Gilga has been coming up here in terms of the quote-unquote Titan meta of being useful, so that's nice that he's finally getting some love. There's another bass. You have 5 bass total?
That would be 5 total, yeah.
You might have more than me. I think I only have 4.
For the water. I'm sure I've got more in the other elements. Or at least,
Yeah,
I guess,
for the water
wood.
specifically. There's a wood Garuda. Another wood.
My 2
wood
variant
Amayoji.
is just sitting.
There's another wood Garuda. You do have a light Impurito. That's nice. And then a whole bunch of dark Lucy's. So this is for hitting dark?
So that, because I'm lazy at the moment, that's for hitting dark and light. My fire, water, and woods are set up. I need to reset a dark one for hitting lights, but I've not done that recently. I'll still hit dark, but it's not set up really for doing it.
This is your team for hitting Wood Titan?
Yes.
Dracus.
Yeah, they do good damage.
For Titans.
I'll stand by that.
By good damage.
They do good damage.
What are we talking about here?
3rd or 4th highest damage on the team overall, and the SP boost ensures that the healers actually get the heals off in case the orbs don't go their way.
Out of what damage though? Is it like 9 million? 12?
No, I'm generally doing 20 to 30 million damage, I think. The water teams, I've pulled off this week like 40 something million damage, 45 million damage on the water team, I think, this week.
You are the man with the most hot takes. This might be the most controversial account review I've ever done in my life. In terms of time's sake, I don't think I will.
That's fine.
I like this lineup. This one's great.
Yeah, it's doing good damage. Yeah, I'm running. If you can click on it, go to the square gems. I think.
Are you in B11?
At the moment. No, B11. It is. No. Is it this one? Nope, not that one. Because go down one more. So I'm running B10s.
Which is fair. I mean, that's fine.
Because B10s, this team cannot lose to the fight. And so it just cruises through and gets me the points to summon gyms and gems. So I can run any of the others except for the final one fairly reliably. But like we talked about earlier, that final one's just not really worth it anyway. The B11, I don't remember what his skill was for B11. What was his ult? Was it shock? Yeah, it's shock. So this team would run just fine on B11. So this team should be able to crush right through. Well, actually, it might be able to cut through it, and if it didn't, I would just switch out the Sonic and put in the light Miho for the immunity.
Very interesting going through your account and hearing actual explanations versus me having someone's account and trying to piece together
trying to understand what the heck they did.
What they're doing. It's like you trying to explain your homework to me, but you're not here to explain it. So very interesting account. You had quite a lot of hot takes up there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, yeah, right, very cool. Entertaining. I mean, my only professional but unlicensed advice would be, hopefully one day you can get better subs so you don't have to rely on the resist gems as much.
Yeah, I mean that's the perfect world. You know, we're all aiming to get there. It's just a question of getting the gems and teaming to
but
cooperate.
When that will happen, no one knows. But yeah, I will say thank you so much for your time and allowing me to go through this with you.
Yep, sure thing. All right, take care.
Alright, so hopefully you guys had a lot of fun with that. I personally enjoyed it. It was very intriguing talking with Florida Guy and trying to see his whole mindset on why he does the things that he does. But to address that, because it is a account review / kind of like a showcase, basically what I can sum up for your account is gem quality is the biggest issue, as I stated as we were ending the whole conversation with your account, where you have a big compromise to most of the mons on your account because you're giving them a dedicated slot for resist. I'm not saying that that is a bad way to do things, but 95% of the time it really doesn't make sense to me for you to have a resist gem taking up like a third of that mon's stats, when those stats can be given to something else and help fill that mon out more, and you can simply get resist subs off. Now, with talking with Florida Guy via Discord too, it turns out that he runs golems maybe 10 times per week just to get it out for his weeklies, and then he spends most of his time in PvE. So the situation comes down to just gem quality, period, because you have a whole bunch of mons, there's a whole bunch of mons built up, and there's a lot more potential for them. And also keep in mind with the Titan mons that I recommended for you, obviously what you can see here is that they're at Evo 3, and I'm not taking into account of them being Evo 1 or Evo 2, and honestly I'm not even taking into account the timings either. This is just like a rough draft version of what you should be aiming for with the mons that you do have and the mons that you can kind of build up in the future. So I'll leave it up to you to go to practice mode, throw in those mons, and see how their timing reacts, because the most important thing is that your left side, especially mons using exposed weakness, can kind of gear towards making sure that the mons on the right side, aka your courageous strikers, take advantage of that exposed weakness. You don't want a left lane Astromon stealing your exposed weakness from the left lane because you're saving that for the right lane. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It was definitely a very interesting account. Florida Guy actually has quite a bit of hot takes, so definitely look forward to that video in the future, you guys. And also, I mean, this is a kind of question for you guys, is if you guys were interested, I could also upload in the future our whole entire talking session, because I know that this video was longer than my original account reviews, but that conversation was literally probably about like 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like, it is a very lengthy conversation of going through basically his whole entire box and seeing his reasonings for things. But yeah, I just want to check with you guys if you're interested in seeing that in the future. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.